What's up guys, today I'm starting with 1 mil GP and I'm going around to various popular shops around RuneScape to see how much money I can make in 4 days. So anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so I'll be starting in the Shayzien area, which is a somewhat hot spot since there are 3 popular shops here already, being the archery, clothing, and sword shop. I'll be doing all 3 of these shops, but I'm going to start with Daryl in the archery shop. So I bought between 250 to 350 iron bolts at a time before hopping worlds and did this for a whole hour, which I'm not gonna lie was pretty tiring and click intensive, but I ended up with 53,500 bolts and spent just under 215k. I also misclicked a couple times and may have accidentally bought some crossbows, but to my surprise they sold for a profit even with the very low volume they have. Okay, quick pause. If you guys are confused about how I know the price or the volume of any item or how you could check in the future, all you do is go to GE tracker and search any item. So in this case we have the crossbow like I was just talking about, you have the price, you have buying and selling in the last hour, and obviously this is very low and means that it's probably going to take forever to sell in the GE. If we scroll down we can confirm that the price fluctuations are kind of high over the last couple days too, which is another bad sign, meaning there's really low volume here. Okay, so back to selling stuff. I split up the iron bolts in the GE and put some in at a price of 10 that I thought were almost for sure gonna sell, and then the majority of the bolts I put in at a price of 22 because I'd seen on GE tracker that these can sell for around 20 something each, which is huge because at the shop we bought the iron bolts for 3 to 7 GP. While that sells, I'm going to go on to our next shop, which is going to be the clothing shop in Shayzien. So at this shop, I just bought every cape available and then hopped, but only ended up doing this for 10 minutes because the volume was kind of low and I honestly just wasn't that confident in the capes. But after 10 minutes, I had between 83 to 90 of each cape and spent only 6,496 GP. I threw those into the GE and then went on to the sword shop. Now this is where it starts to get a little bit more tricky as the sword shop has a couple of profitable items, being these 4 swords mainly, so I just bought a bit of each of them to test it out. I also only spent 10 minutes on the shop because I was just starting to get tired, probably because it was like 1 AM when I was doing this, and well, let's be honest, buying stuff from shops isn't exactly the most super fun way to make money. Anyways, I ended up getting a good amount of items as you can see and spent a total of 43,226 GP. So not too bad overall. I then put everything in the GE to hopefully sell overnight.
The next day.
So when I woke up, I was honestly kind of disappointed as quite a few things didn't sell, and I realized that I forgot to put in my black skims, so I made sure to put those in and then just adjusted some prices. And then finally, after a couple of more hours, everything had sold, so then I ran the numbers on the first day and found that the Shayzien area is actually pretty damn profitable. Some things to keep in mind here though is that I had no competition at all during these shops, and that everything does take a while to sell. Like the bolts took me almost a full 24 hours, and I honestly don't think the sword and cape shop can be sustained over a long period of time just because the volume is already so low. And then the only thing I wish I did differently here was buy more black skims from the sword shop, as they had the best margin by far and sold in 2 to 3 hours, which is pretty reasonable, so my plan is definitely to go back there later. Overall, my net gain was 964k and I spent about 264k, giving me a profit just over 700k from everything I did the first day, which puts me over 1.7 mil right now. Really not that bad for only an hour and 20 minutes of doing stuff, so I'm pretty happy. Let's get on to the next one. Okay, so with my new and improved cash stack, I decided to go to the hunter shop in Nardah to buy box trap packs. I like doing shops for the 10 minutes at a time, so I started this one off with 10 minutes and managed to get 10,520 box traps and spent just under 450k. I accidentally bought 700 bird snares too, just by misclicking of course, but it's fine as I should break even on them. So while I had those in the GE selling, I decided to go back to the sword shop and this time focus on buying only black skims and bronze two-handed swords, as they had the best margins and sold reasonably quick. I did this for 10 minutes also and spent just over 72k for 83 black skims and 92 bronze two-handed swords. I just put them in the GE and took a little break, as honestly I was exhausted from just 20 minutes of doing these shops.
From the work
it takes to keep on breathing.
When I came back a few hours later, everything had sold except the black skims, which was honestly to be expected, so I just adjusted the price there. But what I was most surprised about was that the box trap sold for a net gain of 789k, meaning I profited just about 350k in 10 minutes, which was a good enough reason for me to go back for another, 20 minutes just to see if this was a fluke or not. And ladies and gentlemen, it turns out this was not a fluke. In the 20 minutes here, I spent just over 843k to buy 21,800 box traps. I put those in the GE overnight, and when I woke up, everything sold, but I unfortunately forgot to record it. I didn't sell them for as much as the last set of box traps, but still managed to profit 678k in 20 minutes, meaning you can pretty confidently expect at least 300k here every 10 minutes. Also, for the sword shop, I'll throw up a little graphic of what we ended up selling them for, which was pretty good as we profited just over 140k in 10 minutes, which is also better than when we bought bronze daggers and long swords at the shop. Overall, I only did 40 minutes of total stuff in day 2, putting us at a total of 2 hours spent on shops, and we are just at 2.8 million from the 1 million we started with, so not too shabby if I say so myself. Anyways, let's get into day 3. Alright guys, for day 3 now, I'm going to try to hit 5 different shops for 30 minutes each because I didn't play a ton on day 2. So yeah, I'm going to start with the Thieving Shop here in the Rogue's Den. So all you do is buy out the lockpicks here, and after 30 minutes I spent just over 60k and got 2,475 lockpicks, and I'm not gonna lie, there was quite a bit of competition. I was doing this in the middle of the day during US Central Time, so that could have had something to do with it, but you could probably get even more lockpicks in these 30 minutes, but I'm just saying this really is the first shop I've had any kind of significant competition in thus far. So while the lockpicks were in the GE, I went to Nardah to buy balls of wool right next to the bank. I really like this shop because you can hop worlds less since the stock is so high, allowing you to bank multiple inventories. And it's also just a chill shop and has been around forever and will likely never go away since players will always need wool to string jewelry. So anyways, after my 30 minutes here, I got 5,249 pieces of wool and spent just over 13k, which is really cheap. After the GE, I went back to Birthrope to buy pizzas and potatoes with cheese from the Warriors Guild shop. This shop also had some competition with the pizzas, but the potatoes were normally always fully stocked, so it really wasn't that bad. Anyways, I spent just over 21k in the 30 minutes here, but got 339 plain pizzas and 452 potatoes with cheese. I put those in the GE and then went to Al Kharid to buy some stuff from the Shanty Pass store. Now, unlike the last few shops, I only spent 15 minutes here because the competition was insane. Basically, you want to buy these sets of items primarily, and the bronze bar is the most valuable here by far because of its great profit margins. Unfortunately though, they were almost always sold out except on worlds that have total level requirements, so I was just getting fed up with this and stopped after 15 minutes, but still managed to get 224 bronze bars, some desert clothing, and 662 water skins for just over 25k. Anyways, I was putting everything in the GE and I noticed the other items from the earlier shops finished selling, so let's review how we did. In total, it took us 4 hours to sell off the lockpicks, and the wool and food took 2 to 3 hours, so honestly everything was pretty quick, but also keep in mind that I did each shop for just 30 minutes, so if you did it for longer, it might take longer to sell off. Anyways, the lockpicks were the most profitable item I did out of these 3 shops, which makes sense since it had the highest requirements to access, but overall not too bad all across the board as I nearly profited 800k in the hour and a half I did these 3 shops for, putting us just over 3.6 mil total. Now before calling it a night today, I want to go to one more shop, specifically the Stonemason in Keldagrim, because you can buy some gold leaves and marble blocks, which are really expensive items that have crazy high profit margins, so let's go do it. Alright guys, how we doing? It's like 1 a.m. right now and I just finished up. This took me like 2 minutes to run out of cash and I only got 7 of each of them, but I think we should still be fine to make some decent money. But yeah, I decided to keep just about 456k as like a safety net in case these don't sell by tomorrow morning or something like that, and I can continue doing the video. But yeah, I'm just gonna put these in the GE. Good night, guys. So when I woke up, it was a beautiful sight as everything had wonderfully sold, and now we're sitting at a pretty 3.8 mil. Also, for those of you curious, here are the profits from yesterday, and yes, I did get a little bit more lazy with the graphics. But anyways, for the Shanty Pass, just remember I only spent 15 minutes here and had a lot of competition, so theoretically this could be higher. And then the Stonemason I spent like 2 minutes on and profited nearly 100k, which is crazy, but I honestly don't think you could sustain this for a whole hour or even a long period of time, so I would just treat it as a shop that you go to occasionally before you log off for some like easy flips. Alright, so now we're on day 4 and this is gonna be our final day. I know, it's very sad, but if you guys actually like this content, then please let me know below and consider liking and subscribing as it really helps a lot. So thanks guys. Anyways, for this final day, I'm going to start in the Ranging Guild and buy arrowheads. More specifically, you are going to want to buy all the stocked iron heads and only buy steel arrowheads above stock 100 and mithril and eddy heads above stock 150. This is just because the margins start to get really slim or even go into negative if you buy more than this. So anyways, I did this for 15 minutes and spent just over 260k, and I'll also mention that there was a good amount of competition here as most of the worlds had missing stocks and some of the arrowheads, if not all of them, so I might come back later in the night to see if there is any difference, but for now I just threw everything in the GE and we're going to Hosidius. Alright, now at Hosidius, we're going to be buying from the cooking shop just east of the bank. There are a couple of profitable items here, but I'm primarily buying these 4, putting the most priority on the pots of flour since they have the highest profit margins and there's just a lot of them in stock. So anyways, I did this for 30 minutes and spent just under 10k and managed to get a good amount of stuff, so after throwing everything into the GE, I took a little break and later went back to the Ranging Guild. It's now a little past midnight in America, so I wanted to see if I'd still have as much competition as I did earlier, and I definitely still did, unfortunately, but it was a lot less, and I spent just under 350k on the arrow tips, which is nearly 100k more compared to the last 15 minutes we did. Now I could just put all those arrow tips in the GE and call it a night to complete our 4-day challenge, but I wanted to do one more shop, and this shop is supposed to be one of the most, if not the most, profitable shop in RuneScape, and yes, it's the rune shop in Prifddinas. Prifddinas? I don't fucking know. The goal here is just to buy out the cosmic runes every time, as you can profit 25k just from buying out one fully stocked shop with the current cosmic rune prices. Now this shop normally shouldn't have crazy competition since it's locked behind a lot of requirements and I was doing it late at night, but I'll be honest, most worlds were still missing a lot of stock, making it a pretty competitive shop. Anyways, I ended up doing it for 15 minutes and spent just over 200k for nearly 4,000 cosmic runes. Then the very next morning, everything had sold except the arrow tips, which I just adjusted the price a bit and they sold pretty quickly. Overall, here's how our final day went. We profited over 1.6 mil total in just the hour and 15 minutes we spent that day, which is our best day by far. Obviously the arrow tips and the cosmic runes were super profitable, so they helped a lot in getting this number up, but the Hosidius cooking shop was honestly a little underwhelming, only profiting us barely above 100k. Anyways, we had a net gain just over 2.5 mil from the last day, putting us at a total GP of 5,587,036 from the 1 mil we started with 4 days ago, which is honestly, that's just amazing. This is really good money. We only spent 5 hours of actually buying stuff from shops, which is honestly not bad considering the profit is over 4.5 mil, and we did like 12 different shops in this video, so hopefully you guys learned something. Overall though, the Hunter shop in Nardah, the Arrowhead shop in the Ranging Guild, and the Rune shop in Prifddinas were my favorite by far, as they had the most profitable items and sold relatively quickly for shop items. Alright guys, that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know below because this took a long time to make, so I just want to make content that you guys will actually like. Also, this video's giveaway will be the profits we made, so if you want a chance at winning it, all you have to do is leave a like and comment your in-game name and something you might want to see in the future from me, or what you liked about this video, or really whatever. I will message you on this account name exactly and will never ask you to trade me anything. Thanks again for watching guys, I'll see you later.